Hello there. It's Katie Hunt here for your general weekly tarot card reading for the week of March 4th, 2019, if you can believe it. This week I'm using the Everyday Witch Tarot cards by Deborah Blake, like I do most of the time, and also intuiting any additional information that comes in from our guides and from the universe so that we have the absolute best understanding on all that is to come this week. So, reflect back on the last 2 months that you've had in 2019. It seems pretty insane that we're in the third month of the year. I don't know where the time is going. It's going very, very fast. It seems to go faster and faster every year. So maybe it's a good time to take out those New Year's resolutions and look at adjusting them or reclaiming them, bringing them into your life, into your focus once again, so that you can bring in that change that you set out to at the beginning of the year. What I'm being guided to share is flexibility. So we get so stuck on ideas or things that are really important to us to perhaps bring into the world or perhaps accomplish. But sometimes life gets in the way and then we have to be a bit flexible. So if you found that some things that you've set out to do, universe kind of just, life happened and the universe just kind of threw off course by things becoming more important that you had to address, or things, not really working out the way that you wanted to, just be flexible and allow yourself to roll a little bit and evolve, because maybe you made these plans a couple years ago and you're still working hard on them, but maybe it's time to evaluate and see if they still fit, or is there any adjustments that need to be made in your goals. So just be mindful of that. Look at that. We are going into a Mercury retrograde this week. So if you're not familiar with Mercury retrograde, there's a ton of information out there about it, but the gist is try not to sign any contracts during this time. And technology typically goes awry during this time, so be extra patient, give yourself extra time. If you're going to any sort of important meeting, allow for traffic problems to happen. So just be mindful of that when you are making any sort of concrete plans. And so if your New Year's resolution was to perhaps sign up for the gym and you haven't yet, maybe don't do it during Mercury retrograde, but maybe reevaluate that goal or that resolution of starting to go to the gym. Maybe there are other ways that you can begin to implement it, and ways that don't include signing your name. So yes, Mercury retrograde is a great time for you to reassess, reevaluate all of the re's, maybe renegotiate your lease or any sort of loans, those types of things, the interest rates, all of that kind of stuff. So no, nothing new, but maybe renegotiating that. It's also a time where some people like to get back together. So if you are interested in perhaps reconnecting or rekindling a relationship, maybe this is a good week to begin that in the next couple weeks while Mercury is in retrograde. The most important thing to remember about this time is, people love to blame Mercury retrograde for things. Try to have a good sense of humor about things, and try not to go into fear about it. So if you absolutely can't get out of signing a contract, just pay extra attention, do your due diligence. It's not going to blow up in your face. I signed a phone contract during Mercury retrograde. It's still fine. I love my phone. I love my plan. It was what I had to do because it was a crazy good deal. But I did run into challenges along the way. There was I had to return back to the store like a million times, and I almost lost my phone number that I've had since I was 13. So it was very, very stressful, but it all worked out in the end. So if you cannot avoid signing it or making any sort of concrete plans and goals, those types of things, that's okay. Just be extra diligent, be extra careful, maybe ask a friend to look over it for you, or maybe it's actually a good time to ask a lawyer to look through it just so that you don't miss anything. They're mentioning travel as well, so allow extra time for travel if you are traveling during this time. I'm usually traveling this time of year, so I usually get stuck in extra long lines, or there's just problems, or I get randomly selected. Always, probably shouldn't put that out there, cancel, clear, delete. But just allow yourself extra time if you are traveling. Try to get to the airport early and be extra diligent about what's going in your suitcase and your carry-on, just to avoid any unnecessary panic. And because we do work with angels here on this channel and on this site, call in Archangel Raphael to help you travel, Archangel Michael to protect you and get you through, no problem. And also Archangel Gabriel to help you guide your words so that you don't accidentally say the wrong thing. And visualization, the power of visualization. Communication. I was just talking about communication and I stumble over my words. It's funny. So yeah, just, I don't know where I was going with that. That's the end of that thought, I guess. So anyways, this energy has been so shitty. I thought this week was going to be better. I think what the point was last week was to, count your blessings and to find your center even in all of the chaos. If you were exhausted, if you were irritable, if you were challenged in any way, these are all types of things that like to happen. Throughout this energy that is coming in. It's just the way that we all kind of differ on how we bring in the energy, how we actually anchor it onto the planet. So for some of you, you feel the energy, you feel the heaviness, or you feel the tingliness or whatever. For others, it's exhaustion. For others, it's being irritable. It's just affecting you. It's running through your body. So make sure you have your roots growing out of your feet. Visualize that happening to make sure you're grounded to the earth. And anytime you start to feel like you're unfocused or scatterbrained, just come back down to earth. Even feel the weight of gravity on your body. Those types of things. So apparently this will shift. We'll see what the cards say today. Last week, the energy I found personally was very intense. I am kind of receiving my own little energy attunement on top of everything. So all of this to say, be gentle with yourself, folks, because it's insane times out there. So if you are feeling it, if you're extra sensitive like me to how things feel, just give yourself whatever you need to get through it, of course, within your own health in mind, of course, but take extra time, maybe have some nice hot baths with some salt, pamper yourself. If you can go to the spa, that actually might be a great way to just disconnect. It's nice to actually get out of the house, because when we have all this intense energy coming in, it can make us want to get out of our body and out of our experience and to start doing things. So when we're at home, we look at all of the things that we have to do and we start obsessing about things. And if we're sitting on the couch relaxing, we see the dust on the floor and it really bothers us. And then we can't sit still and we have to just clean the floors. And then before you know it, your whole day's gone and you haven't relaxed at all. So figure out ways that you can ground yourself and nurture yourself. And maybe it is you have to do that outside of the house and set boundaries a little bit, especially those with children. It's sometimes hard to relax with the kids in the house. So if you can swing it, maybe taking that time for yourself, whether it is just going for a walk or going and just buying yourself a couple nice things that make you feel happy or things that make you feel appreciated, whatever your jam is, whatever your love language is, just spend time loving yourself. So let's get into the cards, shall we? See what's going on for the week of March 4th. We are in Pisces, which is a water sign, which is a emotional sign. So watch your emotions during this season. We're also coming towards the end of the astrological cycle. And we're going to start again. Number one, or the first one in the zodiac, is Aries. So we're just around the corner from Aries. So notice any sort of endings that are happening, that are taking place. Of course, with Mercury retrograde, it might be a nice time to reevaluate some things and decide, ooh, eyelash in my eye. Please hold. Woo. Weird. Okay. Yeah, reevaluate some things. Maybe some things need to come to a nice, beautiful ending in the next little while. Okay, so we have the Six of Swords. So this actually beautifully ties into what we were talking about right before. So talking about getting out of our space, this card, Six of Swords, really talks about escape. Sometimes the best thing to do is just get on your broomstick and fly away. In this case, that's, was her only other option, was just peace out. So in this situation, I am feeling though that it is just another confirmation of what we were talking about before, that if you need to relax and you're not able to do so at home, find a way to escape the home or to escape whatever situation is stressing you so you can nurture yourself and recuperate away from said situation. So it's really important actually to have some movement here and to actually leave a stressful situation, whether it's temporarily or permanently. So if you are finding that there is some things that maybe need to change or maybe need to come to an end, maybe your part in it is actually just taking off and leaving and just removing yourself from the situation. It may not be necessarily about you ending something. It's more about you walking away from something, if that makes sense. Yeah, this is how I feel right now. The Nine of Wands. So Rebecca's up against a tree and she's been through it. Look at all those wands that are just toast. I'm assuming those wands are from witches who were just burnt to a crisp there. So she's been fighting the good fight. Her back is up against the wall. She is feeling overwhelmed. Doesn't look like she's going to quit. She's exhausted. She's beaten up. What are you not backing down from? Monday, Tuesday, there will be a situation in which you may feel like this. The situation that's making you feel like this overall in your life could become very apparent for you on Monday, Tuesday. This is very beautifully tied into this. It's a balance. It's knowing when it is time to fight and continue to fight and when it is time for you to walk away and to surrender. And that's individual and that's personal. You have to connect into yourself to figure out what the best move is for you. Is it better that you stick and fight this out? Is it really killing you to do that? And are you depleting your energy supply with all of this and just continuing to push and push and push? Is it time for you just to let it go and walk away? Doesn't mean it has to be over forever. It could just mean that you're leaving so that you can go recuperate on your own. Or it could mean that you're just going to come back later to it when you're ready to face it. Or maybe it is meant to just be done. This is, I think, just this week, this card for us generally. Of course, this is a general reading, so follow your gut on how this specifically relates to you. But I do feel like this is more symbolic in the sense that this is how we're feeling. And this is kind of just going to be the energy on Monday, Tuesday. It may not necessarily be true. Maybe you do have colleagues that can step up for you and help you fight. And also ask yourself, why are you fighting? What is it you're fighting? Do you actually need to fight, or are you just making a fight out of nothing? And maybe you do need to fight, but maybe there's some more information there for you to discover. So lots of questions about yourself. Get curious about what's going on. Okay, so Temperance. So this is actually beautifully tying in what I had said before about the balance of these two, knowing when which you should be this week. And in every situation, it'll change day to day and situation to situation. Is it the time for you to leave? Is it the time for you to fight? There's a balance of life. Life is a balancing act. It's never perfect. It doesn't stay balanced for long, but it's about finding balance wherever you can and having, a good amount of the fun and the tough stuff, equal parts cupcakes and vodka and carrots, like yoga. But are you pushing yourself too hard? Maybe you need to do a bit more resting instead of exercising so much. Maybe you need to change your eating habits, or maybe you're just too rigid and you need to have a bit more fun. So be honest with yourself. This week, it seems almost as if the balancing act it's almost going to be challenged in the middle of the week. So we're going to have to look at the areas in which we need to force ourselves to have balance. And, you know, kind of make it happen. So if you have a hard time getting those vegetables in, just add the vegetables in with the bad food. Like instead of, or not, I mean, throw some spinach on top of your pizza or something like that. So just try to have balance, even if it's in tiny little ways. It's the intention as well behind it. And if you're trying to exercise more or move your body more, maybe re-evaluating that decision to go to the gym. Maybe that's actually not what you need to do. Maybe there's a class that's more fun, or maybe all you need to do is simply walk or. So looking within the self this week, finding out what's going on, because this is a universal influence in the middle of the week. This will be about how we step through and how we manage and work through all the situations that the universe brings to us to bring into balance. So, and they are saying as well, you are the master of your own reality. So don't allow yourself to become a victim of your life, and to be a victim in the sense that you feel like you're totally out of power in how you feel day to day because you're totally overwhelmed and super busy. There has to be things that you can carve out for yourself, or things that you can drop off your plate. Maybe you need to do a little bit more of this if you're feeling a bit more overwhelmed, and maybe there's just too much of this happening. So pay attention to this self, pay attention to the things that you've been complaining about, and be honest with yourself about how you can bring yourself back into balance. And it won't be perfect balance every day, all day. It might be at work you have to be this way, and at home you need to be this way to have balance. And maybe it's just strict divisions. Maybe breakfast and lunch you eat super healthy, and dinner you eat whatever you want. Whatever you need to do for yourself. Okay. For the weekend, we have Two of Swords. So the Two of Swords, that's interesting that I said that because this is the Queen of Swords. We have any other twos in this reading? No. Well, the Two of Swords, since I said that, must have something to do with this. When we see the Two of Swords, it is about making decisions with blind faith. So not really being super logical, not being actually smart at all in the way that we're making decisions. We're just kind of shooting just for the sake of shooting and hoping that we hit something. We're hoping that we just hit the target. So again, weekend, assess, check in with yourself. Are you making decisions just because you're uncomfortable and you just want to go? I totally get that. I am that way. I love to move forward, but sometimes you can't act. Sometimes it's not in your best interest to act, especially kind of during this time, especially in Mercury retrograde. So use all of the reasoning that you have at the moment to make that decision, and just sit on it and see if it changes or evolves at all. And again, balance. How much of you making this decision is your ego wanting to move forward, and how much of it is your heart and your passion, and how much of it is just you being uncomfortable in your own skin in another situation. So you want to change that by being irresponsible and making a decision that's perhaps too rash. But with this card here, the Queen of Swords for the weekend, the Queen of Swords is smart. She can be a bit harsh, quick, very logical. She can come across as cold, very strong. So this could be you this week. This could be another female presence. It could also definitely be a more feminine energy, because this is a general reading. Of course, the results may vary, but typically this is a female that is probably older than you, that you look up to as somebody who has her shit together, and someone who is very strong and very intelligent and very action oriented. This is also somebody you don't really want to mess with, and who can definitely hold it against you. So for some of you, this is about your own detriment in this way. Are you holding grudges against people? Are you being the Queen of Swords and perhaps wielding the sword a little bit too much? Are you doing too much of this? Again, that's going to be kind of in question this week. Questioning you to bring into balance whatever it is that you're doing in your life. For others, this will be a and I think actually for most of us, this is a female figure, a woman who's a big influence to us. This can be a mentor. This can be a mother, a grandmother, a friend, a boss. It's definitely somebody that you do look up to and you do respect because she commands respect. So what can you learn from the Queen of Swords, and what can she learn from you? It's a balance as well. And so you may judge her approach because it's not the same as you. Maybe she's too cold for your liking. But it is about recognizing the strength in her and taking the lessons from her that she's here to teach you, and to understand that love can come in many different packages. And if she's being hard on you, then it's not because she doesn't love you. Maybe it's because she does love you that she is treating you that way. So bringing that in as well. For some of you, actually, this is someone you've been praying about, somebody to come in to help you with something. So a project, or a business, or even their pregnancy. They're saying a pregnancy. So maybe those of you who are trying to have a baby meet the perfect doctor, and she's very much the Queen of Swords, very smart, but not the most cuddly and warm, loving mother energy. But she is very fierce in that sense, that she's passionate about what she does, but it's more mental focused rather than emotional focused. Yes, when you do have court cards come up, so a knight or a king or a queen, you want to talk to them, even if they make you uncomfortable or they're intimidating to you. Be sure to talk to them and learn from them. Take them for a coffee, maybe if possible, or ask them their story so that you can learn from them. Because when these courts come up, they're basically walking lessons. So when we have other cards in the tarot, we're learning from the energy or the other people, the way that they make us feel. But when we have court cards come in, those are really great opportunities for you to talk to somebody you can look up to somebody who's has, maybe, depending on the suit, could be very similar to you, or it could be completely different. So it's always good to expand your horizons and to talk to people who think differently than you, to understand their perspectives. It's all about balance. How many of the people in your life think like you, talk like you, walk like you, quack like you, and how many of them are completely different? So maybe it's time to expand a little bit, expand your reach, and connect with others who perhaps come from a different cloth entirely from you. It should be a really interesting week. Seems very similar energy to this week, to be honest. I honestly think that we are being put to work. So we're just kind of getting thrown into the lion's den to collect as much information as we can, and to grow, and to just, evolve in our own way. So keep notes, keep track, check in with yourself, see how you're doing and how you're evolving through this process. Maybe there are things that will happen this week that you don't react to in the same way that you used to, and that's a nice little health check for you, a nice little growth check. So thank you so much for being here and for watching each and every week. I so do appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing these videos and katiehunt.ca with your friends, so we can grow the audience and grow the channel, so that I am able to bring you even more content that can help you live your happiest and healthiest life. If you're watching me on YouTube, please like, share, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications so you never miss an update. And if you have not already, please head on over to katiehunt.ca to subscribe, to be entered in a draw to win a free Reiki session with myself. So, and not to mention, you get a whole whackload of additional information that I only send through email. So you definitely don't want to miss that, because sometimes there's coupons and discounts on energy healing and readings just like these, but more personal for you. So thank you for being here. I hope that you have the best week ever. Stay strong, my friends, through this time. One day it will be less intense, I'm hoping, and just nurture yourself. And if you're having those tough emotions, girl, just let them out. Thank you for being here.